Good afternoon, everybody. Kevin Schulz here with the 2025 Summer Essentials by Firewire Surfboards. And so I got 4 boards lined up here. We're gonna start over here with my picks and what I'm gonna be riding every summer, or I should say this summer, kind of going into the next few months here. And I've been riding a lot of these boards for a couple months, if not a couple years at this point. A few of these ones here are more of the newer models, and then I've got some trusty steeds as well. So just starting over here on the right, the FRK Swallow is one of my go-tos when there's kind of more waves of consequence or just better surf. Been riding this board down at lowers a lot and then in some beach break as well. And one of those boards that I know I can pick up, and it's a high performance board. Mann kind of took the original FRK, squished it up a little bit and put a swallowtail on. So it's got a little more foam through the middle. It doesn't feel quite as chippy or as bladed out as the original FRK Plus. And just kind of going through my dimensions. So all these boards are stock boards. They're straight off the rack. They're not custom. They are boards that I just pull straight from the factory line. This is the 5.8 at 27.4 liters. I weigh about 170 pounds and I'm 6'1". So this 5.8 has been kind of my go-to. I've jumped around from the 5.7. I've even gotten on the 5.9. The 5.8 at 27.4 just felt like it was the best number for me in terms of volume. Like I mentioned, high performance board. It's kind of got a more narrow outline. Your wide points, I want to say 1.5 feet above your pad. And then this board is just super lively underfoot. It turns on a dime. It holds in waves of consequence. It's one of those boards that I know I can pick up when there's solid waves and it's gonna hold and I can rely on it. Like I said, super fun down at lowers, really fun when the beachies get a little more consequential. And then just that swallowtail, it's something that I really like. It serves as like a breaking point for water back here off the tail. And overall, just a really easy, fun shortboard to ride. So if you're looking to get into that more high performance shortboard, this is gonna be your go-to. And then moving on from the FRK Swallow, this is one of the more recent models that's come out, and that is the Groove by Rob Machado. The first time I rode the Groove, I was pleasantly surprised by how well it held in waves of consequence. I took mine down to Brazil and I had pretty amazing feels on it. So one thing about this board, and I think is one of the most unique features, is the wide point being pushed really far up. So the wide point on this board is gonna be just under your front foot, or maybe just above or below, depending on how wide your stance is. Really nice full kind of round rails, and then it still has that nice big kind of wide nose, and then the tail pulls in quite a bit at the back. So when I was riding this board, I noticed that it was really nice to stand up on and gain speed quickly because all the foam is under your chest and on your front foot. And so this board just takes off when it goes. Typically I've been riding this board as a quad. The quad to me just felt like the most natural and had the most drive. I surfed as a thruster a few times, and I think Rob Kelly and I were kind of talking about the differences between the two. The quad has a lot more release and kind of gets a little more loose in the top of the lip, whereas the thruster has more hold. So depending on what you're looking for out of this board, that it's gonna give it to you. So I've been kind of surfing this thing anywhere from 2 to 8 foot surf. I did some really good airs on it in the pool when I was down in Brazil, testing out the new Perfect Swell pool down there in Sao Paulo. The wide point forward also gives you a nice landing platform if you're doing airs or just somewhere to put your foot. This is a 5.6 and it's 27.7 liters, so pretty beefy, and just an all-around great surfboard, whether you want to ride it in small surf or if it starts getting a little more consequential up into that like double overhead range. I think Rob did a pretty amazing job of bringing a shortboard into a more kind of rounder looking surfboard, and it still has all the capabilities of being a high performance board. just been really enjoying this board and how versatile it is and what it allows me to do in all kinds of different surf. And then moving on from the Groove, this is the newest model that Firewire just put out. So this is going to be the Dominator Pro by Mr. Dan Mann. The Dominator Pro is just the next evolution from the Dominator and Dominator 2.0. The biggest difference that you're going to get out of this board as the Dom Pro versus the Dominator 2.0 is this more pulled in tail and a more pulled in nose. So it kind of gives you more of that traditional shortboard outline. That being said, it still has a really amazing ability to grovel in super small surf. Had a couple surfs at lowers, down at barbed wires, and then I feel like this board really woke up in beach break surf as well. It's got this nice little like baby hip in the back, and then kind of the same rocker template as the Dom 2, so it's really forgiving. Had a couple surfs as a quad. I've been riding this board as a thruster mostly, and with the Velox fins by Firewire. Super fun. Rail line is relatively similar to the Groove in it being full, and then the wide point in this guy is going to be pushed a little further back, more of like your traditional wide point in a surfboard. All these boards carry a lot of versatility with them, anywhere from, you know, shin high to overhead. This thing's going to take off, and I think it's going to be a really good board for those who are not used to surfing a traditional shortboard but are looking to get into that and kind of acquire that traditional shortboard feel without losing the forgiveness that the Dominator and Dominator 2.0 bring. So hence the Dom Pro. Dan Mann, I think, did a really great job, and I'm still playing around with this board and figuring out what it works best in, but from the first few surfs I've had, I really like how it carries speed and how it feels under feet. Very responsive, and this board is even a little bit bigger at 5'8", and it's 28.1. I also rode the 5'7", which is in that 27 liter range, and kind of just comparing and contrasting the two different sizes that I was riding. The Dom Pro, that was a 5'7" in the 27 liter range. I had some great surf and beach break, and then when I took that 5'7" out into like a little more mushy surf or just something that didn't have as much power, that's when I jumped up onto the 5'8", and the little extra volume in this board is gonna really help propel you through those flat sections. You know, I think that was the biggest thing for me, is figuring out what size, because they were both in my liter range. So if you're gonna grab one of these, I would almost jump up half a liter. And yeah, it's a pretty amazing little surfboard. And then what would summer essentials be without a true small wave surfboard? This is my trusty Steed. As you can probably see, this has been surfed a lot. It's got sand, it's got dirty wax, but this is my trusty Steed. I know as soon as I pick this board up, I can go out and surf a 1 foot wave and have the most fun. This is also a Rob Machado board. It is crazy how much fun you can have when the waves get small, and this board kind of, you know, opened my eyes to that. At the 25.9 26 liter range, that's a little on the small side for me at 170 pounds. That being said, when you look at the outline of this board, it's extremely wide and smushed down, so you get a lot of planing opportunity when you're standing up on waves because of all the surface area that this board carries. So at 19 and 13/16 width, this thing just glides over small surf and flat spots extremely well. Super wide nose, super wide tail, and then you have a slight double V off the back. I don't know if you guys can see that, but you have a V running through the back end of the surfboard and then flattening out just behind the tail as well. It just does an amazing job. I don't really know how else to put it, but this is the surfboard that's going to allow you to have the most fun in that small summer surf. Fin selection, I've been running the Rob Machado's, the twin set. These are kind of more raked out fins, and then the center fin's a little bigger than a traditional +1. So I feel like that bigger center fin still allows me to hold through turns without slipping and sliding like a traditional twin, as well as the rake off these back fins. Little bit of tip flex through there, so when you're turning, it's gonna hold a little longer through turns versus having a very stiff fin. It might release quicker. Overall, I'm jumping on this thing 9 out of 10 days in the summer when it's sub 2 feet, and I know I'm gonna go out and have fun. Just an incredible board, and something that wake up in the morning and I know that I'm gonna have a great day on. The old Machadocado. Just a little overview. That's my summer essentials. That's what I'm picking up this summer and going out and riding right down the street. We got lowers, we got all the beach brakes, and then just kind of a versatile quiver. And I know I can go out and have a lot of fun on any of these surfboards. I know I'm gonna stand up, they're gonna feel good underfoot. So drop any questions, comments, concerns in the comment section. We'll do our best to answer them. Thanks for tuning in to my summer essentials this year. See you guys out in the water.